Welcome to Every LA Talks with Los Angeles real estate agent Matias Baker Masucci.
Welcome, everybody. Let's talk about appreciation in triple nets because it's different. So if you've missed any of our previous videos with Tyler, where we talk about what a triple net is, how to underwrite a deal, different tenants, multi-tenants versus single tenants, please go back and check them out. But in this video, we're going to focus about appreciation. Now, when you think about appreciation, we're all very familiar with residential real estate. That's what you think about. I bought a house 30 years ago for $500,000 and now it's worth $10 million, or whatever the scenario may be. But in triple nets, things are a little bit different, right, Tyler?
It's exactly right. And I think this is one of the most important things to know if you're considering buying your first triple net. Mm-hmm. Like you said, it's not buying a house in Beverly Hills where over time it will gradually appreciate, as it has for the last 100 years. Triple nets is different. A lot of your value is tied to the lease. And what that means is it is so important to have a professional review that lease before you buy a property.
Right.
What often happens is you buy a property with a long-term lease, call it 15, 20 years. Every 5 years, that rent is going to increase. Whether it's by 10%, 8%, 7%, it doesn't matter. That rent is going to continue to go up throughout your ownership, and that will naturally increase the value of your asset. Now, there are other ways to increase value as well. For example, if you have 5 years left on your lease with a tenant like Starbucks, for example, that everyone knows, and you're able to have your broker negotiate a new 20-year lease with Starbucks, you just created a ton of extra value for your building by getting an additional 15 years of lease term. And you can now sell that building for significantly more than what it was worth with 5 years. So it's very important when dealing with triple nets to have a professional involved to make sure that you're not missing out on appreciation, because it doesn't happen as naturally as it does in residential.
That makes perfect sense. So the building doesn't have to get prettier, just more profitable, right?
That was a great way to put it. Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Okay. So basically, this is very interesting because we talked about how, when you buy a triple net with a 20-year lease with a Starbucks in it, it has a certain value. But if you were to buy that same property and they had 5 years left on the lease, then you're taking on more risk. But if you buy the property and within a year, you're able to renegotiate another 20-year, now all of a sudden, you just created a ton of value without doing much to the property, right?
Exactly. So
so
not much work on your end at all.
So it's all about, I get it. It's all about, the way you negotiate the rent increases, the way you negotiate the lease essentially. And even if let's talk about another example that maybe makes this a little bit easier. Let's say you have a McDonald's and you're buying it and you have, 20-year lease runs out, McDonald's leaves. Now, you hire a broker to repurpose for a Wendy's or something else, and you get a great triple net lease from a Wendy that is another 15 years. Now you've created value for your property, right?
Exactly. And I have a great example of that. It was one of my clients in Dallas, Texas. He owned a Buca di Beppo, so a full service restaurant.
And nobody is allowed to say that that's an Italian restaurant, but that's okay. Tyler, you're Italian too, so
I'm Italian too, and I can
be careful about Buca di Beppo. All right, tell us the story.
Yeah, long story short, they were his tenant for 15 years. They paid him about $150,000 of rent. Mm-hmm. They left at the end of the lease. Now, he knew his location was amazing. Just heavily trafficked area, right in front of a bunch of major retailers like Walmart, Lowe's. He knew if they left, he was sitting on a gold mine, and he just leased that space where Buca di Beppo was paying $150,000 a year to Raising Cane's. Now, Raising Cane's is paying him $300,000 a year in rent.
I love it.
So his rent doubled. He got a better tenant with better credit and a better lease. The value of his property more than doubled basically overnight. So you can get very, very high appreciation if you buy in an area like that.
So this is kind of like striking oil in that case, well positioning. I mean, he, nothing wrong with Buca di Beppo, who paid him for rent for 15 years or however long, they always made their rent checks. But once they're gone, he was able to essentially double the rent, which is pretty awesome. Thank you for sharing that example with us. So thank you for joining us in this video as well. If you're thinking about buying or selling in LA, remember, we're just a call away. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.
Thank you for watching. To find out more, visit everyla.com.